Okay, so it seems like it's not going very good for Hoyoverse at the moment, and obviously, in my last video, I talked about the whole Genshin Impact voice actor strike thing and all the drama that's going on over on Twitter with a lot of the EM voice actors kind of arguing with each other, but this is something completely different, and this is to do with the state of the game of Honkai Star Rail. Now, this is a problem that's been completely brought on by Hoyoverse themselves, and it's been something that's kind of been brewing for a couple of months now, obviously with a lot of people, releasing leaks and stuff, but now it's officially been announced with the fact that Castorice Revive is going to be a global passive. Now, if you don't know, this has been a topic for the past couple of months, and obviously this was all leaks, so people were waiting to see if the live stream for the next version of Honkai Star Rail was going to confirm that this ability was going to happen, and that's why you're seeing a lot of people, talking about this right now. It's because it's now been officially announced that this is actually a mechanic in the game, and well, it's bad. There's a lot of content creators that have been leaving, and in this video I'll be talking about a lot of the content creators that are leaving, some that are staying, what are some other people's kind of opinions on this, and also my opinion on this, and like, will I be, still playing Honkai Star Rail and stuff in the future, because again, it is a very, very interesting topic to be talking about. Now, the actual revive itself, Castorice's revive, is a ability where she pretty much saves, a teammate, and well, this is all done in the kind of like, she doesn't have to be in your team, this is the effect of a global passive. All you need to do is pull for her, and then this passive will actually have an effect, which obviously has a little bit of an effect whenever it comes to accounts and, pulling, it makes her more than, likely a must pull character. Now, obviously, the ability itself isn't bad, which is what a lot of people are saying. It's not bad, the fact that, she can save people from revives. Bailu does that all the time. And, well, it's just the fact that, this is the start of global passives in Honkai Star Rail. And there's also been rumors of even more global passives coming to the game, which honestly, I think could ruin it. And I think that, it creates this whole sentiment of, making a character even more FOMO-able, I guess, because they have these abilities. Castorice is the only character with an ability like this which will affect your entire account for the rest of the account's lifespan, which again is crazy because all of these other characters and stuff like that, they don't have a global passive. It doesn't exist, and you have to pull on that character, which costs money, or maybe free to play, stuff if you did save up enough for her. But it does, kind of hone you in to kind of just pulling on that one character because you need the global passive from it, which obviously isn't a very good state for Honkai Star to be in, and I don't like it at all. Now, obviously, the reaction on r/Honkai Star was very interesting. Obviously, a lot of them saying, what the hell? Why did you let him cook? Things like that. People with this one, the Bailu kind of dead. If you guys don't remember, whenever Genshin Impact had that whole boycott thing a while ago, and also some other things that happened, they actually spammed a Chi-Chi doing the exact same pose that this one's doing to kind of get Hoyoverse the point across. And obviously people said it's Bailova. Wait, will she replace my Bailu while not even being around? What the frick? Which again is crazy. It's crazy that this can even happen in the game. And obviously a lot of people are very angry about it, including a lot of content creators. They say all people waiting to finally be able to talk about this, finally have the chance to. The floodgate has been opened, which again, I think the general kind of consensus of this is that it's bad. I think a lot of people know that it's bad, and a lot of people know that this is not good for the future of Honkai Star Rail, and that's because it isn't. Now, there are some people as well who are kind of completely delusional and think that this is going to be a good thing, or that it doesn't really affect the game that much, but it's less so to do with this effect in particular, and it's more so to do with the effect in total, because as Mr. Pokey has also talked about this, which we'll go into in a minute. But as Mr. Pokey mentioned in his video, all it does is pretty much give you that safety net afterwards. It's not increasing damage or anything like that. But what it does do is open up the kind of possibility of, crit rate boosts, attack boosts, whatever, coming to the game from a character that has a global passive. And it's not going to be Castorice, but it could be another one. And obviously we've got, characters like the Fate collab coming up, which again could potentially include stuff like that, which is going to be a massive problem for Honkai Star Rail in the future. Now, yeah, as I said, Mr. Pokey has been covering this. He is probably one of the top streamers whenever it comes to Honkai Star Rail, I would say, especially, just for dedicated Honkai Star Rail content. Now, obviously, he's posted this saying, and so begins the end of an era. I will adopt all the homeless Honkai Star Rail mains as long as you level your traces and raise QQ, which again, he posts all these screenshots of all these content creators that have made content on Honkai Star Rail, either leaving or just saying it's a disaster. Now, obviously, got, Kickvin here. We've also got Bran saying that, this anniversary is a tragedy. And, Bran actually did a very good job here. Obviously, he's been under a lot of fire recently for a lot of the things he's been saying with his whole free-to-play, Primo Gem thing that happened the other week. But to be fair, he was actually going to bat against, you know, a lot of his viewers and stuff who were saying, no, this change is good, this change is great. He's like, no, I don't think you guys get why this is actually so bad, which again, it was really nice to see. And obviously, you know, Braxophone, probably one of the biggest, I'd say, build guide creators whenever it comes to Honkai Star Rail. Again, we're saying, will Castorice destroy Honkai Star Rail? Decide it all, version 3.2 stream. And obviously, you know, finally we got Gacha Smack as well saying about the Honkai Star Rail 3.2 live stream. And he puts, I uninstalled, which has a lot of people annoyed. I came across a post from some people over on Twitter that were very happy that he left, which again, I think is a massive L, because I think Gacha Smack is an amazing content creator, and I think that, you know, the Honkai Star community don't deserve him, I would say, in a sense, but if they're going to treat him like that, because again, I feel like he is a good content creator that provides a very positive and just like forward approach whenever it comes to the game, and obviously he understands the kind of implementations of this, you know, Castorice passive and what it could actually affect, you know, for the game in the future, and I think, you know, that's totally fine. And obviously the same with a lot of other people as well, like Braxophone, for example. I mentioned Braxophone. He actually released a tweet talking about it. Obviously this is just one of his tweets. He said a woman is more than a global passive, as a kind of joke, but he actually made a tweet earlier on pretty much saying that, hey, you know, I know that this Castorice stuff is bad, you know, and he's made a video on it and things like that, why, you know, the global passive is bad. But he said, I need to pay bills, you know, I make content on build guides for Honkai Star Rail, and if I don't, well, I'm not gonna, you know, get the money, and I need money. So again, I think that's totally valid. I think if you can, you know, say that, hey, I'm just gonna get a bag here, I'm just gonna, you know, go ahead and just keep covering it just to get a bag, I think honestly that's totally fine. And, you know, anybody can have any reason to play this game whatsoever. And, you know, that's why, you know, this might be a little bit shocking after, like, all I've said in this video. I'm still going to be playing Honkai Star Rail. Now, is it because I think that Castorice is a great character and the global passive is great? No. No. Global passive is terrible. It's a terrible kind of addition to the game. And it's going to get even worse. It's going to get even worse with more characters coming out. It's going to get even worse as they kind of hone in on, I guess, focusing on, like global passives, you know. They're gonna start to, you know, build gameplay around it, which again won't be great at all. And obviously, you know, I'm still gonna be playing it, because the main reason why I play a lot of these games, and the main reason why I play, you know, most gacha games in this space, at least the big ones that everyone talks about, is so I can have an opinion. You know, whenever I talk about Honkai Star Rail, I'm talking as someone who plays every single day. I'm not talking as someone who played 5 months ago and uninstalled the game. I'm talking as someone who's playing the game right now, who's, you know, currently knows what the situation is really like and how it actually feels to be a character, how it feels to be a player, in the game. And, you know, it's just, I don't know, for me, it feels like a little bit more mental clarity whenever it comes to talking about these situations. It gives me more to talk about. And overall, I feel like it's just a important thing. Well, and I'm not saying every single content creator needs to do this, but, you know, for me, at least it's important to kind of like give every single game a go. Not to say that it's going to be good, but just to have some points in there and to kind of understand what makes up a bad gacha game, so that I can increase and kind of further my points in games that I care about a little bit more. For example, Wuthering Waves. You know, I can take things from Honkai Star and be like, hey, let's not add this in Wuthering Waves because it's going to be bad. Or if they, you know, if there is any news or them adding a similar feature, you know, I'm not saying like specifically global passives, it could be literally anything. You know, there's news of them adding a similar feature, I could explain why this is bad and how it's affected other games, and it just gives me a broader, you know, perspective, which again, I think, you know, it's fun. Now, will I be creating a lot of content on it? No, I've never really made content on Honkai Star Rail, apart from, you know, kind of clowning on it, which, you know, I've been doing at the moment. Obviously, Mr. Pokey is still going to be playing it as well. I mean, that was kind of obvious. You know, he's one of the top Honkai Star Rail streamers. Obviously, he has been a little bit hypocritical in some of his statements over on his YouTube and things like that. But honestly, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think that people can just play whatever game they want. But yeah, I think overall, I'm still going to be playing Honkai Star. I won't be spending, by the way. That's also a big point that I wanted to say. I won't be spending on the game anymore. I used to spend a little bit, but honestly, that was really early game. And I feel like, you know, the kind of investment and how much you spend into it is much worse than a lot of other gacha games due to the fact of like power creep and everything like that. And, you know, there's always a better character coming out a couple months later down the line, which again is just frustrating, especially if you're spending, because you spent all this money on this character who's just got replaced, you know, down the line, which just doesn't feel good at all. So I'm going to be playing free to play and just seeing what I can do with my account as a free to play. And I'm not going to be like going hard on the game. I'm not going to be there like I need to grind out every MOC or whatever. I'm just going to be playing it. I haven't even played the story in many versions, I'm going to be honest. I just want to know what the gameplay is like, what the game state is like in general, and just how they're doing. And I think that's honestly a fine, healthy mentality to have whenever it comes to gacha games. I'm the same with Genshin, by the way. You know, I still play a bit of Genshin. I don't, you know, heavily go on it. I've barely played the Natlan story. It bored me to oblivion. Maybe I'll come back for Naya. But again, I've still been farming around the world a little bit, just like kind of seeing what the quality of life is like, seeing what some of the new Natlan things are like. Because again, maybe Wuthering Waves could implement some of that stuff in the future. Some of it they should definitely not implement, by the way. But, you know, there are some things, you know, for example, like some of the landscapes and things, which I think were really cool, that Wuthering Waves maybe could implement. And, you know, it's just nice to know what is going on in other gacha games, and nice to know what is going on in other communities. And just having that kind of opinion, you know, rather than just like being like, I think they have this. Oh, they might have this. You know, I would rather just be like, yes, they have this. I play the game. I know. And it just feels better for me in a kind of personal sense. So that's why I'm still going to be playing the game. Let me know down in the comments if you guys are going to still be playing Honkai Star, because I'm very interested in how many people are actually leaving, or is it just mainly content creators that are stopping, you know, creating content in the space? Because again, don't get me wrong, the global passive is absolutely terrible and it's going to break the game, but I'm here to feel, you know, the game breaking. You know, I'm going to stay to watch the game burn. I'm going to be there while it, you know, burns literally to ashes, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see. And obviously, you know, maybe I can use it in the future as a kind of resource of how to not run a gacha game. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, I think the state of Honkai Star is pretty bad at the moment. But yeah, that's all. See ya.